Well, it's funny that you bring up the mask thing because I know you, as a congressional Republican, are kind of adhering to some of these lockdown restrictions, but apparently your colleagues on the other side of the aisle aren't really as big on shutting down restaurants as they say they are, because a lot of them seem to be going, no?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, this is the old Soviet Union model that they've structured their policies after. That is, we're going to impose all this top-down, hierarchical form of repression on American people. We don't trust you to make your own decisions and mitigate against risk on your own. We don't think you're smart enough. And then we because we're the elite, we're going to give ourselves special privileges and exemptions from this. I mean, what's the name of the laundromat that they ate at?
The French Laundry.
Yeah, that's it. The French Laundry.
Pricey.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The French Laundry, to me, which this is the part that really does demonstrate how out of touch they are with regular voters, is like a regular person considers the French Laundry the kind of place where, you blow $800 and you have to hit a McDonald's drive-thru on the way home because you're still hungry.
Exactly. Well, most of us would never go there, unless somebody else was paying. It turns out somebody else was paying. It was a bunch of lobbyists, apparently.
Hey,
so
you don't say.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's unbelievable. Well, I will tell you, I don't know how your Thanksgiving went, but mine was so out of control. I was going to call the cops on my mom's gathering just to break up all the eating. I was like, we got to get somebody in here.
Oh, I got to tell you, we were sitting out there in 70-degree weather on the back porch with all the friends that were over, and all of us, what we were talking about? Mm-hmm. We were talking about how ridiculous the election thing has been, how ridiculous all these policies that Crazy Joe and Kamala and Nancy are going to try to impose on us. That is a recipe for indigestion.
Well, I got to tell you, man, it does look like a little bit of an Obama reboot. I'm not thrilled with any of the cabinet picks, but even like dopey John Kerry, do we really need another lecture about our carbon footprint from a guy who owns 3 private jets? like, at what point do we call shenanigans?
Who would know better?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, this guy's got his own fleet of planes.
His carbon footprint is Shaquille O'Neal's sneaker size.
Exactly.
He's wearing a 24.
Gosh. Yeah, he's an interesting bird. I mean, what has he really ever done that's been productive in America? Is that tough? Is that a hard question? Is that
He's stumping me now. Because this could be him, it could be Biden, it could be a lot of people. But
oh my gosh.
Well, let's have this talk. So if you're just joining us, Representative Andy Biggs is on the line. He snuck past our screener. And we got to get a sharper guy in here.
I said I was Sleepy Joe Biden, and you let me in.
Stop it. I wouldn't put Biden on because then I've got to interview him and I've got to translate it to English afterwards.
Well, fortunately, you're safe enough because you would have the phone lines to separate you, because otherwise you'd be sniffing your hair.
Yeah, well, there's that. There's that. I got to remember to bring the Good Pert Plus. Oh, Andy Biggs is on fire. Let's talk about this, though, because it's on my mind, okay? You were calling. I saw you on Maria this morning. Maroon tie, by the way. That was a pretty powerful tie, no?
Thank you. Yeah,
okay.
Thank you. Well, it looks maroon on TV, but it's kind of pale red as it sits on me. It's been in the sun too long. It's a red tie that's probably been in the sun.
I get it, but that's part of your whole motif because you look like you know what you're talking about on TV.
That's the key.
Then, you get off.
You gotta look.
Then we get off and woo. No, but you're calling for a forensic audit in Arizona. Yeah. What specifically is a forensic audit? Is that you go inside the voting machines? What does that entail?
Yeah, it's a very thorough audit by people who are trained to conduct these types of audits. So you'd be doing the front end, which would be things like you're going to go look at all the affidavits, which are the envelopes that these 2 million votes came in. You're going to check and see. Are they coming from valid addresses? Are these real people? Are there multiple votes going on here? Mm-hmm. And then the other one is you got people that are highly skilled in cybersecurity and they can get into the machines themselves and try to track down any anomalies that might exist as features in the software.
Ooh, it's very high tech stuff, man. For a guy who still doesn't know how to clear space on his cell phone, I'm very.
Exactly right. I know how to clear space on my cell phone. I call my staff in. Hey, can you guys figure this out for me?
Yeah, membership has its privileges. Well, that's good. At least you call your staff. Other guys would just have a lobbyist buy him a new phone. So at least you still got your dignity.
Well, Look, you lose your dignity the first time you announce you're running for office, my friend.
I thought you were going to say when you come on the show, and I would have taken that shot.
Hey, it was shot to pieces. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the call.
Good for you. What do you think of when Barr says so far they haven't seen any proof of widespread fraud? That would tell me that they haven't conducted forensic audits. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's right. They haven't. I think they've not really done any investigation at all, and I think he's talking specifically in order to prepare a legal case. He's looking for all the elements of the offenses before you go, and I understand that because largely what's happened is there's all this indicia of fraud. There's anomalies. Why is a Republican state legislator in Arizona beating the president by 7,000 votes in a very Republican district when that guy had $1.5 million thrown against him? So those are anomalies that you can explain by the operations of the election, or you might need to get in and do some investigation. You can't do investigation right now because nobody's letting us do investigation in Arizona particularly. But, I mean, you have to be able to open up ballots. You have to be able to look at the affidavits. You have to be able to look at the machines. You have to be able to go forward and see what people are testifying to. And if they're testifying to something, which they're doing through affidavits, then that will give you some kind of indicia that you can go forward and maybe bring your case. And I think they're starting to see evidence now as opposed to just indications.
Okay, well, what's interesting is there's a prevailing sentiment amongst my callers and a few of your colleagues who've been on the show that there are too many status quo Republicans who deep down wouldn't say it, but they're not really fighting that hard because they're more concerned with their own self-interest and they'd prefer the president to be off the stage. Do you think there's any hint of that going on in swampland right now?
Oh, yeah. I do. I really do. I mean, you just look at the people who are fighting, who are out front that are trying to get something done, something moving, whether it's a Freedom Caucus fighting, trying to get the DOJ to actually investigate before you say, hey, we don't see any fraud. Well, did you investigate? Yeah. Well, the answer, of course, would be no. So we're trying to get that movement, whether it's in Arizona or Pennsylvania or Georgia. We've had people go all over the country trying to move this stuff. And then you look at the people who will get on TV and say, yeah, maybe it's time to move on. Let's have a smooth transition. I mean, these are people that have they forgotten what the past 4.5 years have been like? Spying on political candidates, basically doing everything to delegitimize the president, bringing indictments against his transition team so they can't serve. I mean, my question, and I've been pondering this a lot lately, is do you fight the next if Biden ends up prevailing here, do you fight that through passive, kind of a passive aggressive nature, or do you openly give to them what they've given to us? Yeah. And that's really the question. But a lot of my friends that you put your finger on. Well, you haven't put your finger on my friends, but a lot of the people here, they really don't get it. They're willing to just say, well, let's move along. They're the swamp. Yeah. They are the swamp.
And I think that is the biggest challenge, and a lot of voters feel that way too. They basically see, people that are out there, raising a ruckus, fighting the fight, people doing nothing. And then the people in your middle, like yourself, who just want free golf at Mar-a-Lago when this is all over, you'll, jump on a TV hit or two and put on the old maroon tie and be like, it was rigged. I get it, man. It's a nice course from what I've been told. Let me ask you this, because what was something you did bring up, though, which I think is funny, not even funny, but maybe even serious, is this idea that we don't know what a post-Trump world would look like on the Democratic side, meaning are they going to continue to bother this guy? And for that reason, there has been talk, at least privately anyway, that he could pardon himself and his family preemptively. Like, is that really a thing, or is this just an anonymous dopey story, or is this maybe the president just trying to bang out his Christmas shopping the easy way? Because that's a pretty easy Christmas if you just start passing out pardons, no?
Well, I think that you have to take it seriously because we've had so many prominent leftists in this country, including people who sit in Congress, by the way, who are committee chairmen in the Democrat side, say, yeah, we need to continue some criminal investigations of Trump and his family and of his staff and of, you've got Bill Pascrell who's filed bar complaints against attorneys, for Pete's sakes, who are trying to investigate, trying to bring lawsuits, trying to open up this information. Yeah, I think it's real. I think it has to be real.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I get it because there is this like vengeful thing, that we've been talking about for 4 years. It's emotional for them. It isn't even about the law. It isn't about justice, fairness. It's been emotional, and that's what the Mueller probe turned out to be, and that's what impeachment turned out to be. And it's scary that we have to have this discussion. But if you think it's real, then yes, he should do that, and we should add, to my statement that who has an easier Christmas shop this year than Donald Trump? Think about that, Biggs. That's amazing. Hand out a few pardons, and you're out the door.
Yeah, well, he has to face that because this is, as you just said, this is kind of a religious faith with the left.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump to them is the conservative antichrist to them, I guess, and so. Don't forget, they're going to be going after you as a guy who's a conservative talker, or they're going to go after me as a conservative legislator. This is not going to end, and that's why I don't know how we can say passively, let's just move on, let's pull it back together, let's work across the aisle and smile.
That's my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, they're out for blood still, and that's what all tyrannists. Tyrannists, is that a word?
Yes.
Tyrants.
Yeah,
That's what. That's what all tyrants do. They abuse their power and they go after people who disagree with them because they have no philosophical root to stand on. They can't argue their case. So it's an ad hominem attack, and ultimately it's a tyrannical attack.
Very good. And by the way, for all the times we've talked on the air, you've got to know that you don't need to be worried about whether or not it's a real word on this show. You know what I mean?
Well, I knew that as soon as you said yes. I had to go through my mind.
I was just giving it to you.
Yeah, I said, that's not a word.
It's the neighborhood call. It's the neighborhood call. You were close to the bag, so we gave you the double play. That's all that was. Nobody comes to Fox Across America to play Scrabble. I think you figured that out by now. You got this, man. Well,
that's great.
Listen, I know you got a big lunch to get to at the French Laundry, but I appreciate you stopping by and spending some time, man.
Absolutely, and you know what? They don't take me there because I drink the finger bowl. That's the problem.
Biggs, I thought we talked about that. Good stuff, man. I appreciate you, buddy. Be well.
All right, thanks, Jimmy.
See ya. There he goes, the great Andy Biggs.